Hey guys, Toby here from YieldLabs, and thank you for joining me today for the very first episode of YieldLabs Meet the Community, where we will be speaking to our community members and finding out what makes them tick in crypto, what they're trying to achieve, and hopefully finding out a little bit about their story. So let me hand you over to Kevin so we can get started with today's video.
Okay, so I've got a super special guest today. One of our key community members and somebody I've met from different communities as well. Has a great story. So thank you, Gemma, for coming on. You're the first person who's going to, kind of share your story a little bit on how you got into crypto and a little bit about yourself, and we can kind of meet the community format. So thanks for taking the time today. It's really nice of you to make some time for us.
No problem.
Cool. So everybody knows who I am by now, and if you don't, I'll kind of put in the links in the description below. And I think we should jump on to the guest. So do you want to give us just a quick introduction on kind of who you are, what your name, where you're from, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Gemma here. Been kind of in Scotland all my days. Just now in Glasgow. Professionally, done pretty much everything from a paper run all the way up to professional engineering. Went to school, did a double degree at university in electronic and electrical engineering with mechanical engineering. That was at Strathclyde Uni. And if you can't tell, that's kind of the way my brain goes. A little bit logic. There's just absolutely nothing else. It's ones and zeros, honestly. But throughout all that time, I did sports, I did music, I did everything. My brother actually set up his own business. He's a swim teacher. So I ended up doing that as well. So I was teaching with him. So while I was at uni doing a double master's degree, I had a casual job at the university as a lifeguard. And then on the side, I was teaching. And then I became a tutor. So basically I could teach people to be swimming teachers. So yeah, I'm one of these really annoying people that just doesn't stop. But that was until, unfortunately, I got a little bit ill. Had some bad health issues. Some that I was dealing with from when I was about 16, and it was totally manageable. But then just when I graduated, I got a little bit more ill, and it got to the point I couldn't work anymore. So after 7 years of university, yeah, gone. So then I just had to recalibrate. So done a bit of charity work, tutoring people, anything I can do from home really. And then I was keeping up to date, keeping my brain active, going into loads of different things, and I was finding like reading. So we started watching it, and then Stevie here, my friend, he went to do the Q2 course, and then from there, that was it. We did it, and that was it. Jumped in both feet. Started with 100 quid, going, oh, it's lockdown. I've saved £100 in diesel. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, good God, I can't afford my fucking mortgage.
That's it. Yeah. So that's it. Like, it's really. I met you on the. Was it Q3 course or Q2? Yeah. I don't even know what Q we're in. I don't even know what Q we're in anymore. But yeah, I did a presentation, and I've supported their initiatives over there, because I think what they do is really great, and I think it's a great starting point for people. It's kind of like a condensed course, and we're going to touch on that course more in some of the videos we do and stuff. And how that can be valuable, kind of alongside the work we do. But I met you in that course, and what I liked about you is you're first of all a woman, and there's probably a handful of women on that course, and then secondly, maybe even like just 5 or something. I don't know how many was there, 5 to 10 out of 1,000. And then secondly, that you were like brave enough to like just come in like really bullish and just ask questions straight out. So I was like, oh wow, this is someone a bit different. And then you told me your story about your illness, and I was just like, wow, like when most people I meet, they kind of just want materials or buy a bigger house. But then I was kind of like, right, this girl actually probably needs to do this for a kind of financial future. Probably you're like super well educated as well, so you've probably got to pay off all the student loans and stuff. So I was just like, wow, this is like a real story where it actually means stuff. So I always kind of try and give those people a little bit of extra time, especially the women who are brave enough even to come there in the first place, because we really need to get more women, just to kind of get a woman's perspective on this industry, because it's just refreshing. It is just super male dominated out here. So I think you're really brave, and I think that obviously your story of kind of your illness and stuff, and the way that you kind of always keep a positive attitude, and you're one of the people that I see just like constantly working at this. You kind of remind me of myself when I first found this. You just like in the telegrams every single day, just hammering away, and just trying to find your niche and find your community and the people that you kind of resonate with. So I think that's really cool, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to have this discussion today. So that's really cool. So how do you find it, like being a woman in crypto? Is it difficult, or do you just?
It's not something I've thought about at all, because I've always been in male-dominated arenas. You know, growing up when I competed, I was always in with the men. I did engineering. I was the only girl on my university course, like me, that was it. So that's totally cool for me. I don't, but then I got my eyes opened, shall we say. And there are a few other women on the course, shout out to them. They're strong, they are smart, they are badass. It's like, if you're going to a bar fight, I want these girls behind me because they are awesome, right? But to be fair, I'm not being funny, right? See, because I asked that one question with you on that Q3 webinar, I got dick pics. I get actual dick pics. And then when I told a guy, I was like, well, that's not very impressive. He called me stupid everything. And I just had to laugh. Like, we were just laughing. But I don't know if you even saw the chat while that seminar was running. It was like, what's she doing here? She should be going making her man dinner and all that. And I'm like,
there is a collective of these people, and it's that's enough to put a lot of people off, just that on its own. And you do, like in these course formats, you do get a concentration of kind of that type of mentality, which is fine. Everybody's open to their own perspectives on the world and kind of what they think, even if some of it's a bit archaic and kind of 1,000 years old kind of mentality, but it's their opinion. So I didn't see the chat, but because I was presenting, but I only have one screen still somehow. After all this, I still only have one 13-inch screen, so I kind of didn't see what's rolling through. But that's enough to put a lot of people off, just the space, just kind of in the first place. And you're kind of just brave enough really just to ignore it and just let it go over the top of you and just carry on. And I'm pretty sure you'll still be here after they've gone. So that's pretty ironic, right? And funny.
I really hope so. But I mean, what it is, I've already heard about one lady who said she wouldn't, and this is really unfortunate because Charlie and Miguel run amazing courses. But I've already heard of someone who said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just not, because I don't want to go through that, and I don't want to be seen as lesser because I have different genitalia. And I was like,
it's a shame. It's nothing to do with those guys. It's just kind of how the demographic of people kind of like gravitate into this. Why do you think that it is less women? Or let's take that out, right? Because that doesn't always happen in crypto. But do you think, like, what is it? I've asked a few women this question and I get varied answers and usually end up in a big debate with them. But why do you think like less women are kind of interested in kind of this movement, or kind of maybe even like financials in general and taking control of their own financials? Why do you think that is from your perspective?
The problem with asking me is that I'm not your traditional woman. So
what about your friends? What about all your friends? You got loads of women, right?
Well, all my friends are like pretty much guy. No, I've got some awesome women friends. They're so good. But yeah, I think, do you know what it is? This sounds so, as I say, like so old fashioned and everything. But all of my friends who are working and they're married and their mum, like they've got kids. So they still feel that mum guilt, so all their time and effort will be going into the children, will be going into making sure that, they've got the food shopping and all that kind of thing. And see if you're giving all of that to your job, to your husband, to your children, to your, or even if you're not married, whatever. It's a lot to get into this, and it is a lot to learn. I mean, I've been learning about crypto on and off for a couple of years now, but I only really started at the start of this year, and I feel like I'm drowning. I do. There's just too much, and I'm like, I need to learn about this and I need to learn about that, and you know, it is too much. And I think also crypto kind of goes hand in hand with the, I don't want to say it, but like tinfoil hat movement, you know, like realizing what's happening in the day-to-day, you know, throes of the government, you know, being very politically aware, you know, wanting to take control of your own life, you know, take control of your whole ethos of the way you live, of the way that the freedoms that you're having taken away from you. So I believe that a lot of that, men will probably dig into it more than women will, you know, because as I say, women are like multitasking and doing like a million things at once, and you know, guys will be at work and go, I'm not working, let's go on YouTube.
Yeah, and women are probably smart enough to realize that by generating a ton of cash, that it doesn't actually make you happy, and it's kind of nice to have for the security and stuff, but it's kind of not the be all and end all. So you're probably just smarter in the first place, on the whole, as a.
But I think the thing being as well is like, I'm very much, my dad was a bank manager, right? So my dad was like a chartered banker, secretary, accountant, and you know, financial thing. So he had me clued up from the start. So I was always a saver, you know. Since I had that first paper run, I have not bought CDs, you know, I didn't go out buying clothes because, duh, you know. So everything went into savings. So that was me. So even though I was reading about crypto, I was like, it's a little bit too, you know, there's no fallback schemes, there's no anything, you know, you're completely at the mercy of this
FDIC insurance. No
FDIC. Well, yeah, I'm learning about that now.
Yeah, that's it.
But you know,
your dad been teaching you that one, has he?
Well, he has he's been really sweet actually, because he's like, I've been out of this too long. Because he got fired because because he wouldn't give mortgages to people that couldn't afford them. He was like, listen, these are my clients, I'm not doing it, they're going to get into huge amounts of debt, and the banks are going to, you know, they're going to default. And his bank was like, well, if you don't do it, you're going to get fired. My dad's like, well, you can fire me if you want, but I'm not doing it. And he actually told me, I remember I was looking to try and buy my first flat around 2007. And he's like, get it now, because you'll not get a mortgage after next year. And I was like, what? Why? And he's like, there's going to be a massive crash. There's no money. And I was like, oh, but now it's flipped. So he's saying, you teach me, you know?
Yeah, that's
you know, so he came down the other week and he's like, so where do I put my money? And I was like, well, there's this man called Alex Mashinsky.
That's it. Yeah, there's plenty of options now. That's it. So that's really cool. So like, what is it that like excites you about crypto then? Is it kind of the opportunity, or like why do you spend so much time every day kind of, first of all, trying to keep up, right? Like you mentioned that's it is difficult to keep up. And like, as you get further down this rabbit hole, you kind of like, you work out what to kind of focus on and what not to focus on more, and you kind of what to ignore. Whereas when you first go down it, you're just like, oh my God, like I've got to like learn everything, and I've got to be an expert on everything. And you go like really, really deep on everything. So what is it that you kind of excites you in general about the space?
I like the fact that not one person, not one entity, not one government has control of it. I like the fact that it's access for all. It doesn't matter whether you have 10 quid in your bank account or you have 10 million, you get treated the same, because ultimately you're just a piece of code in a blockchain, you know, in a chain. Yeah, that's you, just one tiny little transaction. So it doesn't matter whether you are a man, a woman, you know what I mean? Like whether you're this big, you know, old white dude or what, doesn't matter. So I like that. I also like the fact that it keeps my brain active, because it's something that has been lacking for me. You know, I need something. But ultimately, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was the money. So
yeah, I think there's no shame in that, right? Like everyone's, it is cool, kind of the opportunity to kind of just jump start ahead and kind of outpace everything that's wrong in the world. It is pretty cool, right? Just to be able to, you know, you're in the right place at the right time for once. Like your dad had the housing boom and the dot-com boom, and we were kind of I don't know your age, but I don't think either of us were kind of ready for the dot-com boom in terms of like finances, opportunity, just basically acknowledging that it was there and the opportunity was there in the dot-com boom. Sorry. So it's like, yeah, just now we are in the right place, and it's kind of just money just seems to flow in this ecosystem, and the opportunities, it just thrives. So it's really, really cool to share it with people like you. And that's what we kind of do. Like at YieldLabs, we just try and just help people just, do the same thing that we're doing, really, and just share our ideas, because it makes no difference if we bring another 1,000 people with us just to come and, share in the same thing we're experiencing. So like, why not? And to help other people. I think it's really fun to meet people like yourselves and kind of make a difference to people's lives as well, and just give them that bit of a boost, where it's really hard to find. It's really hard to get ahead in normal life, isn't it?
Well, we really appreciate that, because ultimately, when I first came in, it was Celsius that made me jump in, because I'm tradition, I'm savings, that was the bit that really appealed to me. And there's too much to look into. Whereas you guys, you've been there, you've done it. And you go, right, if I look into these people, do I trust them? Well, they've got a track record. You can prove it. It's the same as if you look back at some of, Cultivate Crypto's videos, and you go, he called this Bitcoin crash or whatever, you go, no, these people are accountable. Then you trust the research they've done. You don't have to do quite as much. You can catch up faster, and I just think it's awesome that you guys are willing to help us and to put that forward. Because I actually saw somebody in one of the chats, and it actually kind of pissed me off a little bit, actually, that's a lie. It probably pissed me off a lot, but, just saying somebody does this and somebody does that, but why do YieldLabs do what they do? But why? And I'm like, because they're good guys. They're trying to share and help. Yeah, but why? It's like,
Sometimes like, and there is always a why, right? And I'm happy to share the whys, and we do get like a sense of fulfillment out of it. So there's a why and there's something, and it's cool to build a mega community, and it's cool to like build a platform, and it's cool to build this stuff, and it's cool to like, what really inspires me is kind of, it's not even financial incentives myself, but I really want to get this thing like into a business so that we can basically hire people from our community, and to basically serve the community more. So I want to do more for the community, right? So I want to get like revenue to come in so that I can just not keep it myself, just so I can give it back to other people to build the community and make it even better. So it's kind of, there's the why, and it's kind of a disruptive model, and it's a way to kind of just give information away for free, and kind of the whole thing ends up with a value at the end. And it's kind of just more, when you're doing okay yourself and you kind of things are working, then you have the capacity to kind of think, okay, well, I can just do this thing I want to do as a passion project that's really fun, and do well at the same time as doing good, the Celsius motto. And I think that's the why. It's just so people, I've had that about 3 or 4 times where people are just like literally just quizzing me, like, what are you, like, interrogating me, what is it for you, and just don't take it. I'm not telling you to do anything, just giving you information. You don't have to read it, you can just delete me.
But then also, it's something I've always liked, even since like years and years ago. My karate sensei, and he was like a 5th dan or something, but he kept being awarded extra dans, and he's like, what is the point? But he would go and learn from someone else. And I just loved that, because he says the day you stop learning, or the day you stop listening to other people, he says, then you just lose it, because all the information is then gone, because it's old, it's done. And I think with you building this community, I mean, within the community, there's so many people who are super smart, and they're going to have different takes on things. They're going to have different strengths. And if you pull that all together, then it's like Crypto Avengers.
That's it. It's really cool, right? And I think like that's one of our core principles, to kind of identify talent and to kind of just bring them. And you're someone that I've identified as super hard worker. Like you just remind me like of myself when I started, like I said, and it's like, that's what I was like. I was relentless. I literally just disappeared off the planet and didn't come out for maybe 1-2 years. I literally like ruined my life. I got depressed. I just wrecked everything, that was good in my life. I was a good athlete before. I just became useless over a long period, and it, wrecked relationships, all of this stuff. But I knew it was worth it for me. I knew that the end goal, I knew I could get the passive income in the end. I knew that I'd found something that other people hadn't found. I knew I was in the right place. So I knew it was always short term, but it was, it's hard, right? What you're doing is very difficult to every day, just be very consistent and just keep turning up. That's what I say, like keep showing up to do the work, and you're learning every day. And probably in like 6 months time, you'll just be like an expert, just because literally because so much more. It was really weird when I realized, like, I did almost 2 years of crypto, and then I didn't tell anybody. I never did any I had like 100 followers on Twitter and stuff, and then I realized, like, people what the moment it was when I started talking to Celsius people, and I knew more than the people that worked in the company, and they were like, how'd you know all this stuff? And then I realized, like, wow, like it was like a light bulb, and I was like, these guys in this company don't even know what I know, just because I've been around for like so long. And then that's what'll happen to you. You're absorbing everything that we kind of put out there now to consume. And then eventually you'll just be like, no, that's wrong, Kev. Like that. And on that day where you're like, that's wrong, you're like, wow, I actually know what I'm doing now. And it will happen. And you'll be like, no, over here. We need to go over here. And then maybe,
so.
Yeah, cool. That will happen. It will happen. I guarantee it. So.
But do you know what's really good at the minute? Part of my illness is like, well, loads of it, but I get really bad insomnia. So it's brilliant because crypto's like a 24/7 thing. And so it's like I can't sleep, and I'm like, I'm just lying here wasting time. Okay, let's get out.
That's not insomnia, that's crypto. Like that's crypto. That's what it does.
Honestly, you know what? I'm bad before. I actually had to, like, last night I was like, I'm gonna need to do something different tomorrow, because I feel like I'm getting a bitch slap from the universe because I'm doing too much. So I'm like, right, tomorrow is a nature day. Tomorrow is like a go hug a tree day. Like,
that's what you need to do. You have to take breaks, right? We need to do content on this, like burnout in crypto, because the burnout is real and it catches you up like over months and months and months, and eventually it will get you, and then you don't even realize it's got you. So you have to like force the breaks, like, even though you don't want to, and you're sometimes bound to the computer because it's raining outside or whatever, but you have to really, really try. So what is it like? What mistakes and kind of what mistakes have you made? So how long have you been doing crypto now? How many?
I was at the first purchase I made was February.
Okay, so that's cool.
So I've been learning for a long time. But
you came in, it was all easy, and then boom, you got your first lesson. That's a good lesson.
You know what, though? It was brilliant. We were sitting watching the crash in May, and just, I keep getting alarmed. But we were sitting watching the crash in May, going, oh, this is really cool. So it just showed you that we actually had it figured out. And meantime, we're going, get the computer on. It's going to go really low. Buy it when it's low. And we were raging because all the networks were going down. We were like, nothing is still up. So that was quite fun. But then afterwards, and you realize that you're like severely in the red, like severely. But then you go, it doesn't matter, because you've not lost anything until you sell it. And you go, I was a bit swear there. I'm trying to be good. I'm not selling, So at the end of the day, any money I put in it's peanuts compared to what most folk have got. But to me, as soon as I put that into crypto, it's gone. I don't have that money. That money is just away. It's away living its best wee life. It's on a farm somewhere up in Scotland, and it's just, cultivating extra little money. So yeah, but that's great. But yeah, mistakes I've made. Oh, honestly, buying straight through, platforms and things like Simplex.
Yeah.
And then, the whole
I did that so bad when I started, because Coinbase Pro was like hardly a thing when I started. So I used to buy it all through the main interface. And then I realized, like, oh, wow, like, you don't have to do that. You can use this exchange in the background. And oh God, I spend so much on onboarding fees. It's crazy, right?
I was catching up. Like, see, anytime I do anything, I've got one of my old lab books from uni. Anytime I do anything, I write it down, and I write down how I feel, why am I buying it? How much morphine am I on? And right. And then like later on, I go back to it and I do my spreadsheets. Oh, I did my spreadsheets last week, Kevin, and I am not happy. Honestly, it's like I'd looked at my fees and I was talking to Commando. You might know him from some of the, yeah, he's awesome. And I was talking to him and I went, dude, like I have spent £300 on fees just on one coin. Never mind any other coin, just one. And he's like, yeah, we all did that, but we're not going to do it again, are we? I was like,
yeah, that's the thing, right? So if you can use onboarding groups or like peer-to-peer, or like there's a lot of different ways that it can be done. But you know, just, and the gas fees are even worse, right? When you there's a I think it's a site, gasfees.wtf, and you just like put your MetaMask in and it tells you how much you spent. It's absolutely outrageous. Like it works it out for you. Yeah, it's outrageous. So,
that's quite.
So what about your successes then? Have you had any, like, obviously you came in February, so pretty much everything you bought just went immediately up. So that must have been a success.
Well, it was, but then I went, I'm not selling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too new. I was just like, I don't really know what to expect. But yeah, no, that one success I did like though was because at the start, except from Celsius, any coin that I bought at the start was recommendations from people I'd found in crypto space that I trusted. And a lot of the projects I hadn't had time to go through it the way that I would like to. So I just bought it kind of going, well, they said it's a good coin, I'll buy it. But I did buy a coin, like a complete shit coin. And unfortunately, I only bought 20 euros worth because of course I did it through Kraken. So of course I had the Forex fees, then I had the Kraken fees, then I had the bank fees. So yeah, but I got a 10x out of that. So I de-risked it when it went to the 5x. And so I've been steadily taking profit since. Yeah. But now it's crap. Now it's like in the gutter. But yeah, that was a good one. So that helped. But other than that, it's just been ongoing. To be fair, my success in crypto, I think, has been finding the right people. And when you guys set up YieldLabs, I remember going in and going, I feel like this is my tribe. I feel like this is like-minded people. So albeit you get your wins and you get your good feeling moments and, oh my God, I made money. That was great. No, what's important to me is that I seem to be surrounding myself with the right people. They know things. They're happy enough to say if they're wrong, but they never are, which is kind of cool, but also like want to smack you in the face sometimes. They get Kevin.
We're always wrong. We always do wrong stuff. Just don't show that.
But no, I think that's it. It's finding the right people, going on the courses, trying to educate yourself, and eventually it will come right. Would you stop giving me an alarm?
I think the fact that you spent like quite a lot on education as well, especially through like Cultivate Crypto and the mindset course, and there's one of those, a new one coming up soon. Like, I think that's really cool. That's kind of, you like here not just for quick wins, and you kind of like looking for the long term. And like the amount of time you've been in crypto, like it's not long, even though it feels like a lifetime. And it took me probably 1 to 2 years. Yeah, the time I entered was a bad time, but it took me a long time to like find my formula and kind of like to click. Like, when you do like any sport, or you're kind of at school and you're learning something, and then all of a sudden you just get that click. It's like when you learn to drive, you don't really, how to get the car to move, but you're not really that confident, and all of a sudden you just don't think about driving anymore at that moment. And that's kind of that will come, like, and it just takes time. And I think like you're very fortunate, like, because the space has matured to have this. And like I said, for over 2 years, I had no one to talk to, not a single person that I talked to anybody. I just did the whole thing on my own, and lost quite a lot originally, just because I didn't, I was just doing the wrong things and just kind of hadn't developed my style, and it was very lonely at that point. So for you to find that through Charlie and Miguel, and through this as well, and just all work together, and it's really cool, right? Like that you get that support, and just the course fees alone on kind of those courses is worth it, just for the network. Even if you find 3 people, like that's valuable. And some of the modules are worth like $300-400 each, just for the information you get. It's really good. So I'm glad you've kind of found that, and and it will change, and you'll find new people as you go along. But I think it's really cool, and I think like the way that you work so hard and everything. It's just, if you could keep it up and stay healthy and you stay interested and motivated, you're gonna do really well, I think. So I think it's
thank you.
I think it's really cool. So yeah, so where can people find you then? Like, you're on social media?
Well,
apart from in our groups?
I was for a while, and then I deleted myself, so I'm only just back on Twitter. So if anyone does want to find me, it's at Jems. So, you know, just Google it. There's nobody else with such a random name, but
that's it.
Yeah, it's like Jems.
Yeah, I'll add it as well. I'll add it into these videos as well, and we want to do some more of these, right? So you're like, I was talking to you before we started, you're the first one to do it, and it's always the most difficult, and then everyone can it's easier for everyone to follow and just do this. So any cool people that want to kind of just share their stories, kind of talk about what they did right or wrong, and just help, like, by sometimes just these stories are very helpful in terms of like education and purpose, just for investors getting into the space, taking care of their own funds for the first time and stuff, and to see that it's like normal people like me and you that can do it, and that you don't have to have some suit and work in a bank and all these different things to just think about your own financial independence. It's really cool. So thank you very much for the time, and thanks for like being part of the various communities that you've been part of. I think your energy is really good, and I think you're definitely the first person I wanted to do this with, just because I think you have a lot of potential, and I think you're going to do really well.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me, because I don't get much interaction.
But we're always there, so anytime you want to talk. So
okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
That is a wrap on today's video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We hope the content was useful in helping you get a better grasp on yield generation in this space. Hop on over to Twitter and follow us at YieldLabs for updates and more.